Good afternoon, everybody. Joker, starring Joaquim Phoenix and Robert De Niro, directed by Todd Phillips. What's it like? Is it any good? Should you spend your money? Stick around and you'll find out. Now, I went to see the new Joker film with my favourite movie buddy, my son Joel, yesterday at the Dulwich Picture House. Great place it is. Just one interesting thing. Before the film started, there was the usual adverts, of course, and one of the adverts was playing the song White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, and it was an advert for Gucci. Now, if you know White Rabbit, you'll know it's a song about taking drugs. And the key line just towards the end is feed your head, and feed your head with LSD. And the advert actually cuts the song off just before that final line. Anyway, just thought I'd include that, because one of the things about Joker is it includes a couple of interesting songs, one of which, coincidentally, is White Room by Cream. Why do I say coincidentally? Well, Ginger Baker, the finest drummer in the world and the drummer in Cream, died a couple of days ago. In other words, a few days ago before I saw the film. So that's one interesting point. The other interesting point is that there is a song by Gary Glitter. Yes, Gary Glitter. Now, I have in my house a number of paintings by Rolf Harris. I used to like Rolf Harris as a painter, and I had quite a number of his, prints. They weren't originals, they were prints, and they were on the wall. And I took them down for various reasons, because I changed the pictures on my wall. And then, of course, Rolf Harris rather fell from grace. Does that change my view of his art? Well, in a way, yes, and in a way, no. But what's interesting, I suppose, is that it does change one's view of Gary Glitter. Gary Glitter has become an absolute pariah in the music business. Now, of course, back in the 70s, when glam rock was alive, nobody really liked Gary Glitter. Even the young kids who liked all the glam rock stars, Mark Bolan, Sweet, trying to remember the others, Gary Glitter, he was always a bit of a he was a comedic character, wasn't he? No, not a comedic character. He was a joke. That's right, a joke. A joker, even? No, he was a joke. He was a fat guy in a suit made of aluminium foil, and then he spectacularly fell from grace. And he didn't just fall from grace; he was exposed as a paedophile. I believe he spent time in prison, and now nobody talks about Gary Glitter. And yet, the film Joker uses one of his songs. I think it's Leader of the Gang. Now, did they use that song knowing about Gary Glitter, in which case it seems like a rather odd choice, or did they use that song not knowing about Gary Glitter, which makes it seem like an even more of an odd choice? Anyway, those are two asides. What did I think of the film? Well, when I came out of the film, I spoke about it with my son, as we always do, and I said I sort of enjoyed it, but I didn't really like it. And he said, you come out of the picture house feeling dirty because you've watched something that is actually rather unpleasant. Now, the thing about the Joker, of course, the Joker is the baddie to Batman's goodie. And he's quite an interesting character, but he's an interesting character as a foil for Batman. Does he work as a character on his own? Well, no, I've got to tell you, for me, he doesn't. And this film doesn't work either. It's unpleasant. It's nasty. Its message, well, I'm not sure what its message is. The backstory of the Joker, or rather Joker for some reason, as he decides to style himself, is that he has an unfortunate childhood. He's abused. His mother suffers from mental illness. He's adopted. He's an outsider in society, or outsider in Gotham City, a not very nice city, a bit like London, I suppose. And for various reasons, he decides to take revenge against society and turn himself into Joker, not the Joker. Now, you will know that Joaquim Phoenix plays Joker, and it is a tour de force performance. One of the main reasons for that is he's remarkably thin, and Joaquim Phoenix has not always been thin, so it makes you wonder, how did he manage to lose all this weight? And that rather distracts you when you're watching it. But however he's done it, he's turned himself into a remarkably thin person. And he goes through various trials and tribulations. As I say, he's an outsider in society. Nobody likes him. He has a brief relationship, or does he imagine having a brief relationship with a young lady who lives a few doors down the corridor. And as I said to my son earlier today, well, why didn't they meet before? Why did they only meet when it's convenient for this film that they meet? Anyway, and he wants to be a comedian, don't we all? And the Joker, not the Joker, Joker is Arthur, by the way, Arthur Fleck. Was that his name in the original Batman films? I can't remember. Arthur Fleck wants to be a stand-up comedian, only he's not very funny. And he produces a line in the film. Now, stop me if you've heard this one before, because the way it goes is they laughed when I said I wanted to be a comedian. Well, they're not laughing now. Now, I've heard that line, and it's a Bob Monkhouse line, and I heard it probably 25 years ago. Now, are they using it in this film because they think they've just made it up? Are they using it in this film because they've heard Bob Monkhouse use it and they like it? Are they using it in this film because Bob Monkhouse wasn't the first to use it? If they are using it and they don't know that this is a Bob Monkhouse line, again, like the Gary Glitter choice of music, I think that is disgraceful. So Arthur turns himself into Joker because he's an outsider. He doesn't like society. He tries to find his real father. His father rejects him. He's rejected by everybody else. He has a job working as a clown. Clown, interestingly enough, which is why he starts off dressing up as a clown. Not quite the same clown as he becomes at the end when he becomes Joker. But anyway, he works as a clown with a dwarf. Interesting character, and a big fat guy. They are part of the clown agency, as it were. He murders the big fat guy in a particularly unpleasant way, and not for any particularly obvious reason other than the fact that the Joker is a nasty piece and he's a nasty villain and he's a piece of work. So you come out of the film thinking, well, did I learn anything about the Joker? Why the hell should I care about the backstory of the Joker, for Christ's sakes? Batman is a film about Batman. He is assailed on various sides by enemies and villains, one of whom is Joker, one of whom is the Penguin, one of whom is the Riddler. Are we now to see a film about the Riddler and his backstory, about what turned him into somebody who wants to turn riddles and wear a costume made of question marks? Are we going to see a backstory about the film of the Penguin, a man who wanders around in a tuxedo with funny spats on his head, a big long pipe or big long cigarette holder? No, was that in the Adam West program? I don't know. I'm getting confused. I don't care. I'm interested. I quite like the Batman films. I still think the original Batman film I said to my son it was Michael Kitchen. He says Michael Keaton, you idiot. Anyway, Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. And Jack Nicholson for me is the best Joker. Now my son, of course, who was only a few years old when the original film came out, the Joker for him is Heath Ledger from The Dark Knight. So I wonder, who is this backstory Joker film for? It's not the Joker of Jack Nicholson. It's not the Joker of Heath Ledger. It's the Joker of Joaquim Phoenix. But Joaquim Phoenix hasn't played the Joker against the Batman. He's only played Joker in this film. And it's set, as I say, around Gotham City. And Gotham City is a crumbling, decaying place where the council has cut back on support for mental health services. It sounds a bit like austerity cutbacks under the Tories. And then, as a consequence of what Joker does, he murders some people on the subway, which the rest of the people in Gotham City decide is a great lark, a great joke even. And he does that when he's dressed as a clown. So lots of people dress up as clowns and create mayhem in the streets. And they kind of dance around and sing songs wearing clown uniform. And it looked uncannily like some of the recent footage that you see of Extinction Rebellion. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all in favour of Extinction Rebellion, but there is just some scenes in this film of clowns dancing in the street around cars and battling against the police that made you think a little bit of Extinction Rebellion. So there you are. The Joker as the lead of Extinction Rebellion? Well, maybe not. So you come out of the film, as I say, feeling a bit dirty. You come out of the film thinking, well, I sort of enjoyed it, but I didn't really like it. And then you more than think about it, you think, actually, I didn't enjoy it either. And I didn't like it at all. Robert De Niro has a brief but, I suppose, telling role. He's the only other, what you would call, star in the film. The rest of the people are ciphers, characters. They're not real characters. Everything is about Joker. Everything is about Joaquim Phoenix. And yes, it's a great performance, but a great performance isn't enough to make a great film. And this isn't by any means a great film. I would say it's not a bad film, But it's not a film that I have the slightest desire to go and see again, and it's a film that, having seen it, I rather wish I hadn't seen it. I don't think it's done anything for my life, and in fact, if it's done anything, it's made me even more annoyed. So, Gary Glitter, bad point. Cream, good point. Joaquim Phoenix, good point. Storyline, bad point. What else is there? Gotham City, well, it's a bit like New York, it's a bit like London, it's a bit like the world after, it's a bit like what we're going to look like after Brexit. Yeah, everybody unhappy, dressed as clowns and running around blaming everybody else. There you are. There's a metaphor for the world. There's a metaphor for our future. Boris Johnson would love it. See you next time.